Good morning, everyone. My name is W.J. Miles. I'm your instructor for today's webinar. Gail is going to be answering your questions online. If you have a question during our session today, please type them in the question pane located at the right side of your screen. If you don't see the question pane, you may have to click the orange arrow button to maximize it. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can during the webinar, and at the end of the webinar we'll have a time for a question and answer also. The webinar is also being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel soon. Today's webinar is how CMAs measure up. We're going to show you all the different ways that you have to do a CMA with your NETRIS tools and programs. So as of right now, you can see my screen, and this is where we recommend that you log in to MLS from. If you go to mymetrotex.com, you'll find a little blue house in the row of houses here. Directly below that is member shortcuts, and you'll click on the MLS login. Once you go to there, it's going to take you to the screen where you'll put in your login ID and password, and then you'll come to the NETRIS portal. On the NETRIS portal, you've got multiple different tools here that you can use. Today's class, we're going to spend most of our time in the Matrix program, looking at the different ways to do a CMA, and then we're going to wind up in the RPR program, the Realtor Property Resource Database by the National Association of Realtors. It's got a great report in there that you can use for this. So if you click on the NETRIS Matrix icon, that's going to take you into your desktop of NETRIS Matrix. And what I did before class is I just selected a subject property, and I've got it up here on a preview. Just selected it at random. It just happens to be a property up in Frisco, which is really hot right now. So to do a search and find comparables for this property, there's certain things that we need to know about the property. First of all, what subdivision is it in? How many bedrooms and baths does it have? What's the square footage and all of that? So that's the reason I brought this print preview up, so that I could see all the fields that I'm interested in, and I can find comparables on this property. So on the subdivision field, I want to copy the main portion of that subdivision, because when I go back into Matrix and do my search, I want to find properties that are in that subdivision. So we'll go to Matrix, Search, Residential, and Quick. Search, Residential, and Quick. When you go into that, this search probably has 9 times out of 10 all the fields that you're going to need to do a search on. So that's the reason we like to show this one. It's the simplest. And then for a CMA, you're going to want to do particular statuses in the top left-hand corner. So I would do all the actives so that you'll show their competition and what's going on in the area. Then I would do pendings and solds. And then the subdivisions, very important for a CMA. You want to try to get properties that are as close as you can to your subject property. So we're going to use the wild card in the system, which is an asterisk. When you put an asterisk and you put the subdivision field behind that asterisk, and then you do another asterisk, that means the subdivision name has to have that contained in it. So as we know, subdivisions can end in different phases or additions or have numeric characters or Roman numerals behind it. By just doing the main name of the subdivision there, you're going to find everything in that subdivision. Then we're going to go down and select single family. And this subdivision is in Frisco. There could be another subdivision with that name somewhere in the NETRIS area. So I'm going to make sure that we find the one that we want by putting in the city of Frisco right there. And that shows us that we've got 68 matches. Well, I want comparables that are close to our subject property. And I know our subject property is only a 2-bedroom property. So I want only 2 bedrooms or less. I don't want to compare a 2-bedroom to a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom property. So I'm going to do a 2-. And then on our square footage, I want to do a range around the square footage of this property. And the square footage of this property is about 23 So I'm going to go down about 350 and up about 350. So in that square footage area, I'm going to do 2,000-2,700. And notice our number of matches have gone down over on the left. And also, we want to tell it how far to go back in time for our solds. Notice on the solds there's a 0 to 90. That means go back 90 days in time for the solds. But I happen to know there were a few sales in this one that were back in November. So instead of doing 180, I'm going to do 270. Just so I can pick up those few sales that happened back there, since we're in the early springtime here and we need to reach back and get a few more comps. So now I've got 17 matches by putting that criteria in. When I go to the results tab, I'm going to see my view here, and I can sort my status column by clicking on the word status, and it's going to sort it ascending. So I'll see all the actives here at the top and the solds here at the bottom. You'll notice we've got a pretty wide range here of 330 to 505 with basically the same size properties. Well, during my research of this, I figured out these more expensive properties are on the golf course. So I wouldn't want to compare a property that's on the golf course to a property that's an interior lot away from the golf course. So I know these higher price ones I can get rid of by clicking on them, and then I'm going to remove them because they're not comparable to my subject property because of their location on the golf course. So if I highlight all of those, I can refine my search using the white toolbar at the bottom and clicking on refine. And since these that I have checked are ones that I want to get rid of, I'm going to hit discard. Discard means throw away my check marks or remove my check marks. If I hit narrow, it would get rid of the ones that are not checked. They're the opposite of each other. So I'm going to hit discard, and it's going to leave me with the properties that are comparable to my property. This is where you want to spend all of your time. If you've got plenty of comparables, you can get very critical on them and eliminate the ones that are not close to your property in size or amenities or age or those different things. So this is the art of the CMA, is clicking or keeping the properties that are comparable to your property. Once you've got them all selected by clicking the top left-hand button on the first column, then you're going to go back to actions. And this is where we're going to get into the tools that you have to do a CMA inside of Matrix. You've actually got 3 separate tools to do CMAs inside of Matrix. The first one is Quick CMA. The second one is just called CMA. And for those that were here with our previous MLS system, we used to call this the CMA Wizard. It's the same tool, just carried over into this product. And the third one is relatively new with this system, is the Cloud CMA. It's a web page that will produce a report for you. So we're going to start with the Quick CMA. And when you click on Quick CMA, it's going to bring up a report that's going to take the properties that you have selected and put them into the different statuses. So you'll see active, active contingent, then pending, and sold properties. There is kind of a little bug with this right now that we've discovered recently. Chrome, if you do not see the second page come up, what you need to do is rotate that page, and once you rotate it all the way around and you go down, you'll see the second page. We've been getting calls in support about that, and we've reported it, and that's the answer we've gotten back, is that you need to rotate it, and then the second page will show up. It's just a little bug in Chrome that they'll probably fix here before too long. So this is called the Quick CMA, but it's also called the CMA one-line report. Right there at the top you'll see it, and also at the top left-hand corner you'll see the CMA one-line report. And what that means is that the comparables here have one line for each property, and then they have a summary section at the bottom of each one that shows you all the mins and maxes and averages and everything. The solds are at the bottom, and the important number that you want to find when you're on the solds is underneath the S dollar / square foot. That stands for sold dollar per square foot. These are prices that people actually paid for these properties, so those are hard values. And if we scroll on down, we can see the average of that column, and that's the number that we're interested in, is the average of the sales in that area. So you would take that number, multiply it times your subject property square footage, and that would give you a starting point. It is not an exact science. It is very subjective. If I do a CMA and you do a CMA, we're probably going to come up with just a little bit different numbers depending on the properties that we keep. But that gives you a starting point for an average home in the area. And then you have to decide, is the property I'm listing or the property we're getting ready to purchase an average home, below average, or above average for that neighborhood? And that would just help you have a starting point. So that's the quick CMA report. You can print it. You can download it. You can also email it. Emailing it's kind of a little bit different though. They tried to hide it from you. So let's close this tab. And when you have your comparables selected here, if you want to email this to your client, you have to go to print. Instead of email, you go to print. And while you're underneath print, you'll see CMA one-line report in the list. So you would highlight that, and then you have the option to email the PDF. When you click on email PDF, it pops up and you can type in your client's address, or if you have them in your contacts, you can select them out of your contacts and put them in the to field and send it to them. And then you would have the subject in the body of the email here that you could say whatever you want to say there. So just remember that to send the CMA one-line report via email, you have to go under print. So that's the quickest and the easiest one to use, is the quick CMA, thus the name of it. Then we have the CMA or the CMA Wizard. Again, we've got our comparables selected here. We've got a check mark next to all of them. When we hit the CMA, it's going to bring up a little report generating tool. And notice across the top, all of the tabs are grayed out. You haven't selected any pages that require these yet, so they are grayed out. You can put your contact's name here. So I usually just use Rudy, my dog, and put his name in there. And then you go to pages. These are pages pre-prepared that you can add to this report. And as you add the pages, the things that are required on those pages light up here on these tabs. So if you have a picture of your property, you would do the one with the photo. If you don't have one, then you could just do the cover sheet without a photo. And then we've got the subject property adjustments. You can do the summary list, the price adjustments, mins, max, all these different pages that you might want to add to the report. And you would expand out each of the headers and then pick the pages that you like. The only problem with this report, or the drawback with this report generator, is you cannot change these pages. The pages are what the pages are. So if there's something on a page that you do not like, then all you can do is just not have that page in your report, because you can't go in and edit it. Once you've selected all these pages, notice all your tabs at the top are now bolded to where you can go into them. You can also rearrange the pages. You can click on it, move it up, move it down, or if you decide, I don't want that page, then you can hit the X and remove it from the page. Okay, so once you've got your pages selected there, then you're just going to start working your way across the wizard here and putting in the information that's required. So when we hit the subject property here, we can type in the subject property fields manually, or if the property is in MLS, we can autofill it. And actually this property that I selected is in MLS, so I'm just going to autofill it by doing the MLS number, typing that MLS number in, and hit fill, and it's going to fill my subject property information in for me. Notice over here on the left, it's got the address, the city, the state, subdivision, all the features of the house and some dimensions and all of that. Then over on the right, it automatically filled in the front photo for me there. If that's not the one that I want, then I could hit browse, drill down on my computer, find the photo, and upload that file. And then the remarks are just the property description there, and then the map location's automatically filled in for me. So by bringing that over with the MLS number, it's saved me a lot of time. Hopefully it doesn't have typos and things on it. So now if I go to the cover sheet, again, it's going to show that photo. If you selected one of your contacts that's in your contact database, all of their information that you have on their contact record is going to be filled in. So if you didn't, you might have to type some additional information in. And then down in the bottom left-hand corner is your information from the roster. It would pull your information into that page. Then we go to comparables, and these comparables are the ones that we had selected in Matrix, and it has pulled them into this. If we wanted to do some more weeding down or adding to this list, we could. If we wanted to get rid of one, we would highlight it, and you can remove it from the list. If you found another one that you want to add to the list, you could click Add to the List and put an MLS number and put it in. So we're just going to say, okay, our comparables are good. They're the ones I want. And then when we go to the map, it's going to show us where those properties are in the subdivision. If all the listings are mapped correctly, you're going to have a nice looking map like this that shows, hey, they're all in the same subdivision. But there may be times when you come here and you've got one that is mismapped and it's over in another city somewhere. So you got all these properties clustered together, and then one that's mismapped over in another city. If you'll call us at the MLS department here at MetroTex, we'll be glad to fix that one that's mismapped, and then you can refresh your CMA page and it will pop back into the neighborhood that you need it in. We'll be glad to do that for you and get it to where it'll make your CMA report look nice. Then we're going to go to the next tab, which is Adjustments. And when we click on the Adjustments tab, this is where you can adjust for your comps. If you keep your comps really close to what your subject property is in size and bedrooms and baths and location, all of those things, you shouldn't have to adjust. But sometimes you don't have enough comparables to do a good CMA with, so you have to go outside the area, or you have to include one with more bedrooms, or has a pool or not. This is where you would adjust for those. Notice we've got subdivision, total baths, total full baths, all these different fields that we could adjust for. So if I had one that had a pool and my subject does not have a pool, then I could adjust that comparable down to remove the value of that pool so it's more like my property. I try not to do adjustments. I want to have these properties as close as I can so that I don't have to do this, but the system does have that capability for you. Then we have the pricing, and when we click on the pricing field here, it's going to show you some information here at the top, and then you can type in this one area, the suggested list price. When you click in that field, you can type on this page and put your recommended list price or a range that it should fall in based on your work and everything there. So I would usually go in with the range that's maybe 10 or 20,000 down, 10 or 20,000 up, until the seller and I come to an agreement on what the price of the home should be. And then we click on the finish, and when you click on finish, you're going to see, here's all the pages, here's the pictures, here's the contact, and right here at the top, you can view the CMA. If you click on View CMA, it's going to show you the report. It's a perfectly good report, looks nice, it's formatted well, it pulls information out of the MLS system and puts the information in for the comps for you. So it's a very professional looking report right here. So it starts with your cover page, the subject property, your information, and then the summary of comparables, and then it gives details of the comparables. Notice your subject property is here on the left, and then the two comparables are there to the right so that they can be compared easily. So depending on the number of comparables you have, you could have multiple pages of those. And then you scroll on down and it talks about the amenities of the home, and then you've got plenty of charts and graphs here that tell the story of what's going on in the area. And then we will get down to where we have a few talking point pages once we get past the comparables here. So it's a perfectly nice, fine looking report. The only problem is these pages are set. There's really not any way to change them if any of the pages do not meet your needs. You would just remove it from the report on there. Okay? So lots of talking points here for you to speak to. If you've got a pilot or an engineer that loves facts and data and charts and graphs, they've got plenty of that to look at on here. So that is called the CMA, or the CMA Wizard. If you close that, you also have the option back here in Matrix of emailing that to your client. So again, you would hit email CMA. It's going to pop up, and again, you've got the email where you can post it here and send it to them. If you want to save this CMA, right here at the end of the tabs at the top of the page is a little diskette. Man, I'm old, I know what a diskette is. So you click on a diskette and you can save that to your computer. If you want to get rid of this, you can hit the red X to discard the changes there also. So that is the CMA. So
we did receive a request to have you go and show how you got there. So if you wouldn't mind doing that again.
All right. So let's say I had to run and show properties or go to lunch or whatever, and now I want to get back to my comparables. If I go up to my recent searches, the last search that I did right here, I can click on that, and it's going to take me right back to my narrowed comparables here. So again, this is where you do all your work, is finding the comparables. Then you put a check mark there, and to get to this CMA that we just looked at, it just says CMA on the toolbar down here at the bottom.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so that's the second option, is the CMA Wizard to produce a report. The third option within Matrix is Cloud CMA. The last button on the big blue bar is Cloud CMA. We really like this one. This one is a website that you're going to go to, and it's going to pull your information into it. The first time that you come here, if you do not see this CMA and name this report, it may bring you to your contact information to set your account up. This is a free service for you by being a member of Netris. So just answer the questions there, providing the information. You'll actually go through a second screen of that also. Once you provide that information and save it, it will take you to a screen that has a blue video embedded in it. If at that point, if you'll just close Cloud CMA, you'll be back in Matrix, and then you click on Cloud CMA again, it's going to bring you directly to this reporting page. So that first time you have to set up your account and put the information in there that it asks for. If you do not know some of the information, just go ahead and leave it blank, and you can always come back into settings later on if you need to put it in. There's a settings right here at the top, and you can put in any of that information that you need to. So once you're into Cloud CMA and you're on the CMA tab here, it wants you again to put in the name of your client. So Rudy miles, and then you can put in your subject property over here. The reason you want to put in your subject property is it is going to put a pin on the map where that subject property is. So if you start typing, and for some reason there's a bug on this, used to it would find your property while you were typing it, and that it has quit doing it, so they must have had an issue with it. So I'm going to type this in and then have it find it. So make sure I didn't spell anything wrong here. So Hacienda Heights Lane in Frisco. I can tell it is residential. It's about 2350 square feet. It's 2-bedroom and 3 baths. And now when we scroll down, notice here on the left we've got several MLS numbers. Those MLS numbers came over from Matrix when I started this report. Those are my comparables. But notice this big OR right here in the center of the page. That means you can either bring your comparables over, or you can get rid of those, and you can have the system search for comparables for you. So if you're just doing a quick one and you don't need it real accurate or whatever, then you may want to do the right hand side to do a quick CMA for you there on by the system. Down here at the bottom you have fetch listings, or if you scroll up, it's also at the top right hand corner. So to bring everything over, you're going to click on fetch listings. It's going to log into MLS, grab the information about these properties, and pull them into the Cloud CMA report generating tool. The thing that we like about this one is you can customize it and make it look totally different from your competition. So you can change the color, you can change the layout, you can type on some of the sheets, and you can make yours look totally different. So if we scroll down, notice it tells us it brought 4 active properties, 1 pending, and 4 solds, and then it has a nice looking map here for us. The subject property, or the SP right here, has a purple or blue, whatever that is, purple house, and it's right there, but it's also one of our actives right there. So you've got 2 of them right there together. But then you've got sold properties are red, and pending properties are yellow, and active properties are green. Okay? We scroll down, again, we can do some narrowing of the listings if we want to. On a listing, if you have a check mark in the top right hand corner of that listing, you can remove that. It will gray out and it will no longer be a part of the report. If you want to put it back in, you put the check mark there, it highlights, and it will be a part of the report. So you can scroll through and see those. Once you decide, yep, I'm ready to go, then again, you've got the customized report at the bottom center or the top right. The buttons take you exactly the same place. So you click on Customize Report, and it's going to bring you into the report area where you can modify it. So you've basically got 3 columns here. Over on the left, you have additional report content. These are pages that you can add to the report if you want. Then in the center, you have the pages that are already in the report. And then over here on the right is where you're going to make it look unique with your header and the language that you want it to be in. It does English and Spanish. You can change the color, you can change the layout, all of those different things there. So the pages here in the middle, you can do several things with. If you decide, I don't want to have this market action plan in my report, you can hit the circle with the minus in it. It's a red circle. When you click on it, it falls over to additional content. If you decide, yes, I do want this moving checklist in my report, there's a green plus sign. You click on it and it moves it to the center. So you can add and remove pages from the report by using those little circles to the left. You can also rearrange the pages by grabbing this little handle on the right hand side of the page. When you roll over it, your cursor turns into a 4-way pointer, you hold down your left mouse key, that grabs the page. You can put it in any order that you want it to be in. You can also edit some of these pages. Notice on some of them they have an edit button. That means that you can go in and change the content on that page. So up here at the top, notice I only have one Cloud CMA tab. When I click on edit, it opens a second Cloud CMA tab there for me, and I can go into that page and change the content with whatever I need to, and then I will scroll down and hit save. But then at that point I just have to know I have to close that tab back. It says it saved the content right there, but I want to get back into my cloud report. I just have to close that tab, and that content is included in here. So each one of the pages that has the edit button, you can click on that and do it with it. So we can rearrange pages, take pages away, add pages, do whatever you want to the report. Then on the top right hand corner here we have the headline. If you click on the headline, it has several different titles there for you. We've got quick CMA, neighborhood market analysis, BPO supplement report, whatever you want to call it. So down here at the bottom is type your own. If something's not here in the list that you want to use, then you would type your own. So I'm just going to select quick CMA. And again, you've got two languages, English and Spanish. And then you can change the color. So we're going to do the dark red here is what mine is showing. Yours may show something else. But if you click on that, you can select whatever color you want. And when you click on this, we've got franchise colors and heritage colors. You're going to be able to find something here that will meet your needs as to what colors you like. So let's just do the red and blue. There we go. And use this theme. And now that color is going to change. And now if we scroll on down, we're pretty much done. So now all we have to do is hit Publish Report. So when you hit Publish Report, it's going to take you to your desktop, and the report that you're currently doing is in the top left-hand corner. And you can view that report, you can present it, you can email it, and share it. So viewing it is pretty much your print the report. Present is meant to be used to present on a tablet and navigate through there. Okay? So that is the Cloud CMA and producing those reports.
Okay, hold on just 1 second, please,
Okay.
WJ. So Nick and Joni were hoping you could show us how to do an adjustment in the Cloud CMA.
Okay, so if I go back and edit this, that's going to bring us back to the beginning. So we're going to hit Fetch Our Listings here. And we go to Fetch Our Listings. It's going to bring us into the report here. And of course, things slow down.
Of course, yes, when we're waiting for them.
Right at the wrong time, things slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get back into the pages here. There we go. So to scroll down, right here on each of the solds, notice it has details and adjustments.
Okay.
If we click on details and adjustments, it's going to show us the information there. So if we need to adjust this one, we would either put a plus value or a minus value in there to adjust for a pool up or down or whatever. So the adjustments are done on each individual property by clicking on that. The ones that you would want to adjust for are the solds.
Okay, good
Okay.
to know. Thank you.
Other questions? All right, so that's the Cloud CMA. Once you've got that done, you can go to your dashboard there and see all of them. You can print them and share them there. The last way I'm going to show you how to produce a CMA today is with RPR. RPR stands for Realtor Property Resource. It's a database by the National Association of Realtors that has every property in the United States in it. Every time I hear a new number of properties in this database, it keeps going up and up and up. So the number I heard this week was 170 million properties in this database, both residential and commercial. So you've got several different ways to search here. You can look at all properties, meaning everything, whether it's been through an MLS or not. You can look for sale properties, meaning it's currently active or pending in a system. So if we start typing in our address of our subject property, it's going to start guessing here below of what the property is. Notice it found it just by typing in those few characters. It found our subject property right there. If I click on that subject property and hit search, it's going to bring me to the property detail or summary report here. We teach a 3-hour class on how to use this system, so I highly encourage you to come to that class. You're going to love this tool. Lots of information here for you. There's a new term in this tool that you're going to hear about is RVM. And AVM stands for Automated Valuation Model. That's Zillow, Trulia, those type of websites that try to provide a home value to a customer or a seller, usually using assessed property values rather than MLS solds. The RVM, Realtor Valuation Model, is what RVM stands for, uses sold data out of the MLS to do the CMA with, and it should be much more correct. There's a little I to the right of that tool. If you roll over it, it's going to tell you what I was just saying there, that it should be much more accurate because it's using the sold data out of MLS. So if you agree with that number, you don't need to change anything. If you disagree with that number, you can refine it and change things here. Or if you want to create your own CMA and not use that number at all, you can create it by finding those MLS numbers that we had over there in MLS. So this number I'm pretty much agreeing with, and it looks like the listing agent also is agreeing with it because they listed right close to that number. So to produce a CMA in this system, while you're on the property, you're going to hit Create Report. When you click on Create Report, the second option down is the Seller Report. This to us is a CMA report because it basically has all of the details about the comparables in the area. This report is huge. If you click on the more details to the right of the seller's report, and it changes into hide details, down below are all the pages that are in this report. You can choose to remove some of them if you don't want to show them by clicking on it, removing the check marks. If you want to see what the report is, you roll over the little I to the right of it, and a thumbnail will pop out and show you what that report looks like. If you keep all of the pages in this report and you have a decent number of comparables here, this report's going to be 70-something pages long. It has tons of data in it for your clients. So before class, I ran a report, and if I click on it over here and download it, we'll see what this report looks like. You click on the report, it downloads in a PDF format, and you can see the report. And here it comes, it's almost here. Boom. So on the first page here is our cover sheet, has the address, picture of the property, your contact information. Then it's going to show the property in the neighborhood, where it is with the subject property. Then it goes right into pricing. Okay, here's the list price, here's the current value of it. If you had made adjustments, it would show the adjustments that you did there. And then down here, we've got the seller's report, home facts. This is what the tax records says the property has. This is what the listing says the property has. This is what you and your seller agree that the property has. So if this property was not currently on the market, it may not have this listing information. If we scroll on down, it's going to show information again about the interior, exterior, all of the amenities, the location, homeowners association, schools. Great part of this database is it links to greatschools.com and pulls information there for you. If we scroll on down, if it has been through MLS, it's going to show the photos of those different listings. So this is the one that's currently on the market. If we scroll on down, then it's going to show the previous listings there. It retains all the pictures from the previous listings and puts them in the reports for you. And if we scroll on past that, it's going to have the property history. This is what's going on with this home's value, what's going on in the zip code, the county, and the state. So the yellow line is this house. It wasn't built until 2014, so that's the reason it starts over here, and it has been appreciating since then. But then it also shows you the zip code and the state and the county. If we scroll on down, it's going to show any assessed value changes on the property. And then I love this chart. This chart has tons of data built into it for you. It's going to show any sales in MLS, any listing activity, any financing activity, meaning loans taken against this property, any distressed property actions here, assessed values, and the AVM or RVM showing what's going on with this property value. This is a great chart. It puts a lot of data in one place for you, and it's very easy to see what's going on with this one. If you ever see that distressed line right here, it'll be going all the way across this chart on the month that it happened. That means they made it on a pre-foreclosure list, or they had an auction date set, or something happened. So if you see that orange line, you need to be asking questions of your seller as to what happened there and what's the disposition of all of that. If we scroll on down, we have heat maps that shows what's going on in the area. This one shows you where the more expensive homes are. So the light blues are less expensive and the dark blues are more expensive homes. If we scroll on down past that, again, we're going to get into plenty of charts and graphs and areas for your engineers and your pilots to analyze data here. Massive report, does a good job of giving you all the information about that area and the property. Then it gets into the comparables. So right here at the beginning we have selected market activity, and then down below that it's going to have your subject property in the first slot, and then you're going to have 4 comparables to the right. So when you scroll down, you're going to see the active properties first, and then we're going to see details about those active properties. So not only does it do it on a tabular or column deal, it gives details about each property, and then we're going to get into the pendings and all the different statuses as we go down through these properties. So I'm not going to make you dizzy by looking at all of those, but just be aware that it has tons of information about those for your seller to look at. So if we get down here towards the bottom, once we get through the comparables, we're going to have, come on, we're almost there. We're going to have the seller's estimated net proceeds. So here's a page right here where it has all the recommended pricing strategies here and everything. You and your seller can sign it as to what you agree to, and then you can also do the seller estimated net proceeds. So you can actually type in this page and give them an estimate of what their proceeds are going to be. Okay, so great report. It is massive, pulls lots of information in there for you. So we highly recommend the seller's report inside of RPR. Okay, do we have any questions?
Yes, actually. So Doris wanted to know, concerning RPR, how far back does a home history go?
The database itself, I think, is about 5 years old. Now, whether they had history before that they pulled in, I'm not sure.
Okay, so at least 5 years and possibly more.
Right.
Okay. And then also we had a question about, just wanted to see how you got to the from the property to the reports again. Just wanted to see
Okay.
that, if you don't mind. And then which report were you looking at?
Right, so I opened up the RPR tool.
Okay.
When you get your account set up and you sign in, this is the main page that you're going to come into here. So if I had not seen the property before, I could either look for it in all properties.
Okay.
If it's not on the market, if it is on the market, I could look for it on for sale.
Okay.
But this is a property-centric database, meaning even if it's not in an MLS or never been through an MLS, it will show up in the all properties. So what I did there was type the address of the property,
Okay.
and it started guessing as to which property I was talking about. And when just in a few minutes of few characters here, it found my property.
Okay, good.
I'm going to click on it, go to that property, and now that I'm on that property,
Mm-hmm.
it will pull all the information about that property into any of these reports. In the top right hand corner it says create report,
Okay.
and when you hit create report, here's our report list. So the seller's report is meant for a listing presentation
Okay,
or
okay.
to present to a seller. The property report has some comparable data in it, but it has more of the demographics of what's going on in the area, the market activity and that kind of stuff. It's more meant for a buyer
Got it.
information, not so much about the comparables, but the area, the schools, all of that stuff. So another great report is the buyer report there.
Okay, so the property reports for buyers, the seller's reports is maybe for a listing presentation. Perfect.
Correct.
Thank you.
And then you've got these other reports down here you can do. The school report is great also. It pulls from greatschools.com into this report. Greatschools.com, the whole reason for it being in existence is to rate schools across the United States. So it's not you providing data, it's them providing data to your client. And you can get the school ratings, the number of kids in the school, what are their test scores, the test scores by grade level, how many children's in the classroom, and on this report it actually even has comments by students and parents and teachers about that school. So another great report there. So there's several different reports that you can generate. Yes?
And then one more question, just taking a step back, how do we get into RPR?
Oh, all right. So I love RPR. I have been in RPR for a long time, so let me take a step back here. If
Okay.
you've never set up your account, you're going to come to NARPR.com. Stands for National Association of Realtors, Realtor Property Resource. NARPR.com. Here on the left-hand side, you would create your account. So you would hit Create New Account. It's going to pop up and ask you some information. So the first thing you want to do is find your National Association of Realtors number, your NRDS number. You can go to their website and find it. You can go to e-services on our website, and at the top of the page in the center there, you'll find it. You can get your Realtor magazine, and on the label on the back side of it, it'll have your NRDS number. So your last name, your NRDS number, you hit submit, and then it's going to ask you for your email address and some other contact information so that you can set up your account.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, so once you get your account set up, then you can log in with your email address and your password that you set up. And once I get that in there correctly, I hit sign in. It's going to bring you into the RPR tool. Just a brief overview of what's here. This is our search page. Anytime you're on a blue screen, you're in the residential side of RPR. If you switch over to the commercial side up here by your name, when you click on that commercial, everything turns red. So you never question which side of the database am I on, because the color tells you you're in residential or you're in commercial. Also, when you're using the system down here, it tracks what you're doing. So if you have visited a property in the last 30 days, it's going to show up over here. If you've done a search, it's going to show there. And if you've done a report, it's going to show here. This information for recent stuff only stays here for 30 days. So if you run a report and you want to keep that report, when you open that report up, you want to be sure and hit the download button right here, and you can download it to your computer, save it wherever you want to save it, because it will disappear off of this site after 30 days.
Okay, and then just another quick question from Carolyn. She already has RPR on her phone, so the same password for the web version, correct?
Correct.
All right, great.
RPR works on your computer through your web browser, works on your tablet through an app, and on your phone through an app. And the tablet app is a little bit different than the phone app because you've got more real estate there. They do more mapping and stuff as you're going through the app there. That is the big advantage about RPR, is you can use it on any of your devices. You see the same information. You can actually send this report from your phone. You could be standing in a listing and send them a school report or a seller's report. It's just clicks away for you to make it happen. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Other questions about anything that we've done today?
Well, actually, we actually had one going back to just the plain old CMA, what we used to call the CMA Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to know how to do adjustments on the CMA, that one.
All right. So when we're back to our comparables here, and we click on this CMA, it's going to bring up our tool. Once we do our pages, by selecting all of them, then things up at the top are going to highlight at the top, and I'm trying to find which one does the adjustments here. Let me come back up to comparables, add these pages. So on the it's adjustments tab. I still haven't got the right one there. Let me get it highlighted here again. Let me back up. There is a tab there at the top for the adjustments. There we go. Price adjustments right there. Once you get the correct page selected, price adjustments, you click on price adjustments, it's going to show your properties here on the left, and to the right are the fields that you can adjust for. So we've got the scroll bar here. If we scroll over, you'll find all the different fields that you can adjust for. So one that's really common to adjust for is a pool. Notice none of mine have pools. But let's say one of my solds down here had a pool, and it said yes right here, and I wanted to adjust this comparable down for that pool, then I would put in a negative number. So let's say I think their pool is worth $15,000. I would put minus $15,000. It would take that $15,000 off of this $395 sold price and make it a $380 comparable for me. If my subject property had a pool and this one did not, and I think my subject property pool is worth $15,000 or $20,000, then I would add $20,000 to my comparable, and that would jack that comparable up to compensate for that pool.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Let's see. Okay. As a newer agent, I'm not sure about adjustment amounts. Where can I learn more about amounts to adjust?
Okay. We do have other classes here at MetroTex that teach you in more detail how to do comparables, so be sure and watch for those. Our advanced matrix class, we also spend the second hour of that class going over all the tools that you have here and talking about those. So we'd highly recommend that you sign up for a class that covers that information.
Okay, great. And let's see. Okay, and then one of the questions we had was, and this is actually from completely at the beginning, how did you choose your comps? Would you mind going over that just one more time, please?
So the most important thing about doing a CMA is finding properties that are like your subject property. So I started with my subject property here, and I want to find what subdivision is it in, what are the facts about it, the number of bedrooms, the number of baths, the square footage, when was it built, all of that. So I want to find comparables that are like this property. So the most important one here, or one of the most important one, is the subdivision name. I want to try and stay in that subdivision name. So if I copy that, I go back over to Matrix and I do a search. I want to search residential quick. While you're in the search screen here, you're going to want to find anything that's their competition. So that would be the actives up here. We want to see any that are pending and that are sold. So I would select those statuses. And then in the subdivision field here, I'm going to use the wildcard, which is an asterisk. And then I'm going to paste my subdivision name in there. And then I'm going to put an asterisk behind that subdivision name. What that says is the terms Frisco Lakes has to show up in the subdivision name somewhere. Then I want to limit it to the area that this is in. So this subdivision is in Frisco. I want to make sure that I'm getting the one that's in Frisco, not one that's in some other part of the Metroplex. So I'm going to put my city in there, and then I want to make sure I'm only looking at single families, and then I'm going to get concerned about my home. So this property, this subject property, is a 2-bedroom. I do not want to compare it to a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom, so I'm going to do a 2-, meaning 2 bedrooms or less, and then maybe 2 baths or less if I want to there. And then the square footage, this property is 2350 roughly. So I want to go down several hundred square feet and up several hundred square feet so I find like-sized properties. So I'm going to do 2,000 to 2,700, and that is going to get properties that are close to mine. But we're kind of in a weird time of the year here in May. There are some comps back in November that I want to pick up for this one. So instead of just going back 6 months, I'm going to go back 270 days so that I pick up those comparables. See how that went from 11 to 17? Now I go to results, and on the results page, this is where I'm going to spend all of my time finding comparables that are like my property. So it was very obvious to me when I looked at this that there's some that are dramatically more expensive, but they're size-wise the same. So I started researching why are those dramatically more expensive, and it's because they're on the golf course. So I know I can get rid of these that are dramatically more expensive because they're golf course lots and they're not comparable to my property. So I would just go through and find those. Once I've got a mark, then with a check mark, I'm going to go to refine and discard those because they're not comparables to my property. And now I have my comparables, then I would do a check mark to select all of them, and then I would be ready to go into whatever CMA report generating tool that I'd like. Okay, so that gets us started, and then we went through all the different tools that you have there. Okay. Anything else that we have?
Okay, generally, how many comps should we have?
Oh, wow. That's the $1,000,000 question. You want as many comps as you can get. The more comps you have, the higher confidence you're going to have that the number you're producing is correct. If you have 2 or 3 and they're not even close to your property, you're not going to be confident that your CMA is a good CMA. But if you have 20 and they're on the same street and they're in the same neighborhood, they're the same size, then you've got a good CMA.
Right, and although it never happens, the joke is that the best comp is the house next door with the exact same floor plan that sold yesterday. Mm-hmm. Never going to happen, but that's the ideal.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's see. And okay. Also, we had a question. Do we have some more RPR classes coming up?
We do. We have the introduction to RPR. We do that one regularly at all of our different service centers. We have just gotten approval for an RPR commercial class, so be watching towards the end of the month for that one to be on the schedule. And we also have an RPR mobile class where we're going to show you how to use the application on your phone in conjunction with your computer so that you'll have everything you need when you're out showing. So we're doing a lot of RPR training.
Okay, let's see. Now, another question came in. Instead of subdivision, can you pull a CMA by school district?
School districts are such a wide area. You're going to have to use your realtor knowledge to know that one subdivision compares to another subdivision. Here in Texas, you can have $1 million homes right across the street from $100,000 homes and be totally different builders, everything. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to use your realtor knowledge of the neighborhood so that you're getting like properties. Doing a school district, some of our school districts are the size of some cities in other other parts of the country. So Texas is big.
Okay, no, that's a great question. And Carolyn's asking, is it true that in regard to square footage and age of property, you should only search for comparables within 400 to 500 square feet difference and 4 to 5 years max? I heard that was the safest range.
There's you're going to have to keep your criteria as close to your comparable as you can, but you also have to find comps. So if there's nothing in a 400 to 500 square foot range, but there is in a 700 square foot range, you're going to have to loosen your criteria up to find some comps. So the closer you can keep them to your subject property, the better off you are. Yes.
Right. And then also about all the questions we're getting about classes, they're very excited to come see you, WJ. Keep in mind at our website, www.mymetrotex.com, in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, we always have our classes that are coming up. But if you click that View All Classes, you'll see all of our schedule that we have. So just keep in mind, if you want to come see us in class, we are definitely available.
And if you just want to see the MLS classes, once you're on the calendar, come over here to the left, uncheck everything except MLS, and you will find the names of the classes, the times, and the locations. Make sure you know what location it's in, because we have had people show up at Grapevine when it was in Duncanville.
Yes, so always look at that location.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, good advice.
All right, guys. Well, we have enjoyed the webinar today. I hope you have. I hope you've learned something from it. Again, this webinar is being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel. So if there was anything there that you didn't understand and you want to go back and look at again, you'll be able to do that within a couple of days when this is posted. So. And
we are still responding to some typed in questions. So if you did type in a question, give us just a couple of minutes and we'll try to get to everyone.
All right. We'll hang around for questions, but that's the end of the webinar. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.